I get a lot of messages from people who are on the fence about getting a mobility scooter, questions about whether it's worth the space it takes up, if it'll actually handle the trips they need, and how much they'll get for the price. That hesitation is totally understandable, because a scooter isn't just a piece of equipment, it's something you'll be living with day to day, whether you're heading to the grocery store, navigating a large house, or just cruising around a community center. My goal here is to walk through the real-world experience of the Shoprider Explorer Blue so you can decide if it fits your routine or if you'd be better off looking elsewhere. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First, let's talk about the everyday setup. The Explorer arrives in a fairly compact box, and the heaviest component, the motorized front assembly, weighs about 44 pounds. That's light enough for most people to lift into a van or a small pickup without needing a forklift, but heavy enough that you'll want a clear, level spot for assembly. The instructions are straightforward, and because the battery pack uses a quick connect system, you can swap it out in a minute without fiddling with cords. In my testing, I could pull the pack from the scooter, take it to a kitchen outlet, and have it charging while the scooter sat in the hallway. That convenience matters if you live in a place where you can't run a dedicated charger near your primary parking spot. Stability is often the biggest worry for new scooter owners, especially on uneven sidewalks or in tight indoor spaces. The Explorer addresses that with an adjustable wheelbase width. By spreading the rear wheels a little farther apart, you get a noticeably steadier ride on uneven pavement, and you can pull them closer together when you need to maneuver through narrow doorways. I tried both configurations. The wider setting gave me confidence on a gravel path where the wheels would otherwise wobble, while the narrower setting made turning inside a small kitchen a breeze. The front-wheel drive layout is also worth noting because the drive wheels are up front. The scooter feels a bit more responsive when you're accelerating from a stop, but it does mean that traction can be a little less forgiving on loose, slippery surfaces. If you live in a region with frequent rain or icy sidewalks, you'll want to test it on a wet surface before committing. Now, who actually benefits from this model? If you're a senior or someone with limited mobility, who needs a reliable, mid-range scooter for daily errands, the Explorer checks a lot of boxes. The 250-pound weight capacity covers most adults comfortably, and the seat height is low enough to get on and off without excessive bending, yet high enough to give a good view of the road. The scooter's footprint is modest, roughly the size of a standard lawn chair, so it fits in a standard garage or even a larger closet. For people who split their time between indoor and outdoor activities, the adjustable wheelbase and quick connect battery make transitions seamless. Also, because the scooter isn't overly heavy, you can load it onto a two-person lift or a small utility truck without special equipment, which is a real plus if you travel or need to store it elsewhere temporarily. Conversely, if your primary use case is long-distance travel, say, taking the scooter on a weekend road trip to a nearby town, or you need to tackle steep hills regularly, the Explorer might feel underpowered. The front-wheel drive, while good for city cruising, doesn't give the same torque hill climbing ability as rear-wheel drive models that are built for rugged terrain. I tried a modest incline on a residential cul-de-sac. The scooter handled it, but the speed dropped noticeably, and you have to keep an eye on the battery gauge because the climb drains power faster than flat riding. For anyone who lives in a hilly suburb or wants a scooter that can replace a car for longer commutes, you might look at a higher voltage model or one with a larger battery pack. Speaking of battery, the Explorer's pack offers a respectable range for shorter medium trips, roughly 10 to 12 miles on a full charge, depending on rider weight and terrain. That's enough for a grocery run, a visit to the doctor, or an hour at a senior center. The Quick Connect design also means you can keep a spare pack on a shelf and swap it out when the first one runs low, effectively extending your day without hunting for an outlet. However, there's a hidden trade-off. The battery itself is not removable for charging without disconnecting the Quick Connect latch, which can be a little fiddly if you have limited hand strength. It's not a deal breaker, but it's something to factor in if dexterity is a concern. Another practical point is maintenance. The Explorer's front-wheel drive simplifies the drivetrain. Fewer moving parts in the rear means less wear and fewer things that can go wrong. The wheels are standard pneumatic tires, which you can inflate at any gas station, and they hold air well. I noticed the tire